1v1s. A lot of different precautions here taken by Duke to be able to, you know, stay in lane a little bit more. And I think what Duke is actually going to go for here on Lissandra is the ability to just kill more minions than Captain Jack's Nunu can. For Nunu to be able to kill minions, he actually has to auto-attack them. And while that's kind of a benefit in that it doesn't take any resources to do that, it does make it a little bit more difficult to actually kill the minions when it comes to like a perfection sense. A little bit easier to use spells to kill minions. Just because spells tend to deal a little bit more damage than auto attacks, depending on what you're looking for here. But while the Ice Blast spam may be a little bit annoying here to Duke, you can still see that he's definitely going for it, prioritizing just shoving the minion wave in, seeing if there's any way that he can get a CS advantage just off of denying minions here to the turret. And that's exactly what you're starting to see here. Very difficult here for Captain Jack to be able to... Oh, I think he actually hit a minion with that Ice Blast instead of an enemy champion here. So Captain Jack gonna hit this level 3. Should put 2 points in Ice Blast. And while at level 6 that might have been a kill, we're still at level 3, even though sustain disadvantage here very, very evident. Or at least becoming that way as Duke starting to lose a lot of HP, and he's actually just going to be forced to try to CS as well as he can here. The Captain Jack now in the position to actually start zoning Duke off of his creep wave. And I think he's actually going to go ahead, head back to base, buy a second Doran's Ring and a lot of health potions. So we'll see what he guys... Actually a Crystalline Flask, so he is looking for a ton of sustain, but will it be enough? You know, sustain very, very important to have versus a Nunu. He's got a lot of mana sustain just based off of his Clairvoyant passive, and of course health off of Consume. Keeps in that lane actually forever. Literally forever, I guess, if you want to keep an eye on it that way. But for Captain Jack versus Duke, you know, the Nunu matchup, very difficult to deal with if you don't have a lot of sustain. So I guess it does make a little bit more sense for Duke to go for this heavy sustain build off of consumables, but at the same time, you may want a little bit more ability power just to make shoving these waves a little bit easier. You can see right now just the Ice Blast spam continuing to hit in here. Lissandra just cannot keep up with Captain Jack, and while it may look even, it only looks that way until Captain Jack goes up and consumes a minion, something that he has been doing quite a lot of. He is a, so let's say a hungry hippo, but Nunu is not a hippo, he is an Ice Yeti. Of course, very large differences between hippos and Ice Yetis. I would imagine, of course. I am not, I don't know, a biologist. I've been unaware. Nobody's briefed me on the etymology of hippos and Yetis, so you can just see every time Captain Jack consumes a creep, it just becomes more and more evident. Consumables just aren't going to cut it. It's 2-on-1, the skill order. Skill build here for Duke. Captain Jack, I believe, has been prioritizing Consume and Ice Blast without putting points into Blood Boil. Both laners actually choosing to go for very high sustain builds, but I'm pretty sure Nunu's going to win out in the sustain battle. Even though there are continual potions running on Duke, he's just fallen behind not only in CS, but also in damage. And, you know, I want to say that maybe he's going to go for a Fiendish Codex as his next item. It's not a bad item to buy it at all. It's just not an item you necessarily get the opportunity to buy in the 1v1 matchups just because you need maximum cost effectiveness from all of your Doran's rings. Have seen some players in AD carry versus AD carry matchups go for Vampiric Scepters as well, but of course it's just an ability power mage matchup here. Is Captain Jack starting to win this matchup out and sustain really, really hard. Of course, now he's at level 6, and if the wave were further pushed towards Captain Jack's turret, he might actually have kill potential. You land an Ice Blast, walk all the way up, throw down your ultimate, but at the same time, Duke does have counterplay to the Nunu ult by being able to use his own ultimate on his body, keep himself safe from that absolute 0 damage, and of course make it deal absolutely 0 damage there as well. But of course, if you're using your ultimate defensively as Lissandra, I think you're probably still going to have a pretty bad time, so we'll keep an eye on things. And is he actually able to last hit those minions under turret? Oh, it looks like this is going to be a very difficult situation to find yourself in. CSing here under turret, not... Oh my gosh, he missed every single one of those CS with the exception of only 1 or 2, so this is going to actually be a very difficult situation to come back out of. A teleport not quite up, but level 6 achieved, so it will be an ultimate available. Duke, unfortunately, will not necessarily have the ability to pick up a kill with his ultimate here, just based on the incredible sustain. We were talking about that as Nunu's primary advantage, and of course the way that he wins a lot of his 1v1s, not just off of the Ice Blast Harass, but off of having the consume for sustain as well. And at this point you can see the Ice Shard spam from Duke's Lissandra, ineffective at harassing Captain Jack, ineffective at getting minion kills, already down about 13 CS, and of course really the effectiveness of Nunu here just being shown every single time he walks up for an Ice Blast, consumes a minion. That's pretty good trades to be making. Now Duke will be able to go back to base and probably pick up 2 Doran's rings, yeah, but look at the absolute zero. Just one-shots the minion wave, gets 110 gold for himself. Captain Jack's just going to go back to base himself and grab some juicy Doran's rings for his inventory. Of course, a barrier here on Captain Jack as well. I think that might have been defensive, mostly just to A, survive the early game, and well, B, you can also use it in the 1v1s just to make sure. And oh my god, he picked up a Negatron cloak, and that is absolutely devastating. He is going to walk back in lane, or teleport back into lane, almost immediately, and as soon as he buys, oh my god, he sells the Negatron cloak. He's like, well, I could get extra magic resistance, but what's more, what's more betterer than magic resistance? If I can destroy your grammar sensibilities here for a second, he's actually just going to pick up the 500 gold for the Null Magic Mantle, and 5 health potions too. So he's going to be able to permanently run these health potions here, and you can see immediately the aggression coming out of Duke. He wants to be able to go for these constant trades to keep all of this sustain from mattering quite as much, but I think Captain Jack is already so far ahead. Here's the all-in. There's a nice barrier here trying to bait out the majority of that damage. There's the Ignite coming down, and Duke might actually win this 1v1. He needs a couple more high auto attacks off the Ice Shard. And Duke, with the all-in at 9 minutes in, here's the all-in, and you can see he's actually not going to use any of his spells, waits for the barrier to time back out, and that's when you want to go for the Summoner Heal. But even if he had brought Summoner Heal, Captain Jack still wouldn't have been able to stay alive, because he was ignited during that entire situation, had to consume under Ignite that cut the effectiveness of the Consume Heal, and Duke just biding his time, coming back with a big win over a Nunu. Duke winning out a match.